Thank you, Ed, for taking time to talk with us today. It's been about 7 or 8 years since you last worked in this building every single day. Is it starting to feel like home again?
Yeah, I've been in here every day since the media avail, except for the time when I had to travel out and do some interviews. But yeah, it feels like home. I mean, obviously a lot of new faces in the building, but energy is up. I feel good, feel excited, and looking forward to not only getting to know the staff, the new staff, and catching up with some of the staff that has been here before. But I've always enjoyed my trips up to the ticket office and surprising fans and having a chance to chat with them. So yeah, to answer your question, it absolutely feels like home.
You live here year-round, and you know a lot of people around the city. What has been the reception like from those people now that you're back full-time?
Yeah, well, what's unique about it is that when I would fly home during the off-season, I would be on the airplane, and people would say, "Are you coming back? Are you back?" And I would say, "No, I'm just back to go home. I live here," and whatever. And in the last little bit here, the reception has been really, really overwhelming as far as the support. It's humbling because, you don't realize how much you have that kind of impact on people because you just kind of live our daily lives. But the reception has been warm, and whether it's the supermarket or going to Sorrentino's up the street here for dinner the other night, it's been again one of those things where it's like, wow, I'm still got to pinch myself because you just never realized how much people really cared about you being around, and it feels good.
What made Edmonton become a place that you wanted to make your home? You've had options to go other places, but you've always come back here.
No, I feel comfortable here. Like when I first arrived during my playing career in 1999, the people have always been great. Community has been fantastic, and having a chance to be with my teammates and those friendships that I still have. I always believed that I wanted to kind of be where my feet were, and Edmonton was that, and it gave me an opportunity not only to play the game I enjoyed, but also make new friends. And I enjoyed started to enjoy the winter. I enjoyed the ice fishing trips that we would take up north. I enjoyed all the off-season school program stuff that we did, and it just became home, like a home away from home, and decided to stay. And regardless of where my career was going to go, I wanted to be in Edmonton full-time.
In the places that your career took you over the last 7 or 8 years, what were the biggest lessons that you've learned being away from here, and then how did you grow as a person because of that?
I think the biggest lessons I've learned is that there's more ways to do it than just one. Every opportunity that I've been given and every person that I've had a chance to work with, you learn different things about the business, you learn different things about people, and working with the players, working with football operations, and obviously building that strong relationship with the business side. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I've gained was the opportunity to really work with some really strong business people as it relates to working with football, with respect to having a chance to work with Wally Buono on the football side. I don't think that there's any person out there football-wise, from the time that I left, that gave me more knowledge and understanding of running a department and actually compromise in a department than I did with Wally. So I think that if I look at positives from that time away, it just gave me more opportunities to learn and grow, and I feel like I'm much better as a general manager than I was the first time around.
Well, one of your first orders of business when you came back was hiring Mark Killam. What about him checked the boxes that you needed to see as your next head coach?
Yeah, I think that with Mark, with all the the experience that was out there and the opportunity for coaches that we could have had in this place, Edmonton, our situation was different than other places. I think our fans are looking for energy. I think our fans are looking for an optimistic, person, someone who's positive, someone that they can rally behind. As I mentioned in my press conference, that I feel like our fans are still out there. I know they're still out there. I know they still care. I know they do because they talk to me when I'm home. They've given me every reason as to why they won't come back and they're not coming back. But I'm hoping that with the decisions that we've made to this point and the ones that we continue to make, that our fans find reason to join. I think Mark is going to be a big part of that. I think Mark is full of energy. I think fans, young and old, can relate to not only his story, but really, gravitate to the energy that he brings. And I hope that enthusiasm that he brings results in people giving this football team a chance and recognizing that the direction that we're heading in is one that they're more accustomed to, that they're more used to, where everything makes sense. We're not going to be this immature circus wagon that rolls around. We're going to be something that does things that our fans can be proud of, and that they know that whenever something is done, that they can have faith in knowing that it's done with all the intentions of winning and not for personal reasons.
Fans gravitate to Mark Killam, but so do players. There was a lot of positive press on social media when he came back and was hired here. How important is it to have a leader that players speak passionately about, and want to follow?
Yeah, I think that's very important, especially in the landscape of the CFL today, where one-year contracts, players are coming and going, and you're looking out there at players and trying to draw them to come in, and hopefully when you get them here that they're willing to stay. Now, obviously, you have to win. We have to provide the facility that works for them. You got to provide, health and training and therapy when they get banged up. All those things have to check boxes for players. But the other thing that's most important is someone that the players feel that cares about them, someone that they want to play for, someone that they feel energy in. And throughout the interview process, the one name that kept everyone just would light up and talk about was Mark. And you felt like, there was something there, and I felt like, I didn't want to miss out on that. So I dug a little deeper and started calling a few more people that had longer stints with him. And it was the same thing, right? And I think from there, it was pretty clear and obvious that for what we need here in Edmonton, as far as the energy and the passion, and for players, the willingness to actually consider Edmonton, I think there's no question that Mark was that guy.
It's only been a few weeks so far, but how's working with Chris Morris been so far?
Working with Chris is just like playing, when we played. Like we have a very good understanding of one another. And again, we've been separated from our playing days from one another, but we've done different projects. When I was here as the general manager together. So Rick, Chris knows what he's getting out of me, right? He knows that I'm trustworthy, that I'm gonna do what I need to do, and I'm gonna do what I say I'm gonna do. And he doesn't have to worry about that. I'm going to hold the department accountable to what's going to bring us success. And in working with him, I'm getting a chance to see him in his element as well. And I'm also able to, shed some light on a lot of things as far as the CFL and the things that are going to allow him to become a really good CEO in this business. I think we're going to work really well together, and so far, so good. And again, he's a friend of mine. And because of that, I'm obviously indebted to him for this opportunity. But I also know that I'm qualified to do this, and I'm fired up. And he knows that he doesn't have to worry about me. I'm gonna make this thing happen for us.
Now that the leadership structure is in place here with yourself and Chris and Mark, I guess what is next for you?
Obviously, we're looking at the roster. Still got to fill out the rest of the staff. We want to kind of discuss the situation with our quarterback and try to get that in line. I think that's going to be a big priority for us. But also, what we're going to look like moving forward. Right? What's our roster going to look like, and how can we win more games than we won last year? And another priority that really has less to do with on field, has to do with just the way we're going to approach internally. Right, our conduct with each other, and learning to be compassionate with each other, learning to get to know one another, treating people with kindness, and really bringing back the way that we have always done things here, because that is a very important part of how this organization has been established. And I think once we have a firm understanding of what that means, then we wrap it into our current name as the Elks. But I think it's really important for staff, young and old, and everyone who's been around to realize that, that you have to live that And if once you start living it, the players will feel it. And once we're doing that together, then we can, hit the field knowing that we're all aligned and united in this quest to win the championship. But it all starts on how we treat each other indoors.
As you look to build out this roster, do you have a specific philosophy in place, and keeping it general, or do you kind of adapt to the personnel you have, or how do you balance that?
I mean, there's adaptation, but again, you can't really be successful in football if you don't control the line of scrimmage. You have to be able to protect your quarterback. You have to be able to, get to the quarterback. You have to be able to stop the run. And you have to be able to have a strong kicking game, special teams, right? Those are the things that make sense. And then obviously your national content, your Canadians have to be very strong. And then with the coaching, you got to be disciplined and all the other things. But yeah, as far as building the football team, absolutely, you build it from the middle. And make sure that your line of scrimmage is something that you can control and that you're not pushed around.
So when you're evaluating a player, how do you balance the talent of the player to the character of the individual as well?
Character is extremely important. Character is extremely important because poor character players bring your environment down. They just take one player down at a time. Talent, there's plenty of talent out there. We're going to find our talented players, but our talented players must recognize that within the standards that are set here in Edmonton with this football team, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about conduct and treating each other with kindness and making sure that there's respect. Poor character will not stand a chance on this football team. Like, there's no tolerance for that, because with all that has gone on over the last few years, as far as no success and frustration, when we're trying to build something special here, why would we tolerate poor character in a talented player when we can reach out and find talented players who have more character, and we'll reach and grab those players to help us build. And anyone who has who does not agree with that, as I said before, there's other teams where they can go. They can go contaminate those teams. They won't contaminate our locker room.
Now, once you've built this roster out and we head into June, you've been in this building when there's 30, 40,000 people cheering on the team. What is your message to the fans?
I think my message to the fans is that please understand that this team, this organization, these players, and the people in this building, we're here to entertain. We're here to give you what you want. We understand the mandate from our fan base. Whatever frustration that they've had, whatever they're living through at this time, we're hoping that you give us a chance and recognize that we're gonna be different than anything that you've experienced in the few years that have made you frustrated. We're not gonna be the same old unpredictable Elks if that's how you view us. We're gonna do stuff that makes sense. We're going to do things that is important to the culture of our football team, and more importantly, we recognize that those who do show up for the games, and those who watch us, and those who are proud to wear the green and gold throughout the city, that we recognize that we represent you as well. And if you could just give us a chance by showing up and be patient with our process, we will deliver. We will deliver what you expect from us, and that's hardworking, competitive football that sends you home smiling.
So the last question I asked Chris Morris, the same one, but 5, 10, 15 years down the line, what does a successful tenure here look like to you?
A successful tenure looks like to me is a football team that is doing really well. It's always competitive, so it's competing for championships. An environment of coaches there's continuity there, and then when coaches are leaving, they're going on for promotions and obviously opportunities for greater things there. As far as operations, the same thing. And I think for myself, when I look at it, a successful operation is that the people that are in the department as well as the organization, that we're all able to look at each other and realize that this was the turning point of the franchise, is when we made all these decisions with Chris, myself, Mark, and moving forward with whatever we choose to do with this roster, that this was the point where the Edmonton Elks reestablished itself as the flagship franchise of the CFL.
Thank you very much for your time, Ed.